you haven't paid off this car. You got to do this. Or you're going to jail or something.
Weird. Like I remember on my credit report, this is gone by now. It was from my college days, but I got into a car accident, and everybody felt like the car accident wasn't their fault. I was pulling into a toll booth, and this is before like it was Easy Pass, and the lady, without using her turn signal, cut right in front of me at the last second. I hit the brakes and I slid into her. So from my perspective, it's like you didn't use a turn signal, you cut in front of me. There was like a cop there because it was a toll booth who was like who wrote up the report and said she was at fault. I think he gave her a ticket. There was a toll booth operator who saw it go down and not testified in court, but like got interviewed by the policeman and said it was her fault. And then of course I thought it was her fault. The only person who didn't was her. And the trouble was she was dating an attorney in the passenger seat, and this guy just like knew how to work the system. He knew what he was doing, and they just, nope, not us, not us, not us. It eventually went to court, and this guy testified for like 2 hours. It just kept going and going and going. Yeah,
Matlock.
Yeah, and it was a weird thing. Like I had an attorney, but it was like provided to us from the insurance company. Like I didn't know him, or he didn't like prep me on how to testify. He just said tell the truth. That was all. Okay. So we get there, and her story didn't even add up. Like the way that she lined it up, he had like the physics, like how fast. Like if he's going this fast, this is how much time or how much distance he would have traveled, and what you're saying just isn't even true.
And like a poster board with strings and thumbtacks attached to different things.
Well, he didn't even get to testify. By the time like it was his turn and he wanted to do a closing argument, the judge was like,
"Are you shitting me, man?"
The judge was falling asleep. The judge was falling asleep on the stand, which I don't know how common that was, but I was really shocked by it. I was like, this is a really big deal to us, and you literally can't keep your eyes open. And at one point, so when it was time for my guy to do the closing argument, he had already made up his mind. And he's like, do you have to go? And the guy's like, well, it's a closing argument. Like, don't I get to, like, make my case? And he's like, well, if you've already made up your mind. And he's like, I was going to explain how the argument they're making just isn't possible. That their story has holes in it. Bottom line, they found me 51% at fault. And that's significant because it means that I have to pay for half of their car and they don't pay for any of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I felt like
that's terrible. What a fucking asshole judge.
Yes.
Judges suck. There needs to be a better system for judges. I don't know what it is, but judges suck, man.
I really felt like justice wasn't done that day.
No, it wasn't.
Now, I had insurance, so I didn't pay anything.
But your insurance rates went up, didn't
your
they?
premiums went up, I bet.
I don't think they did. I think actually what happened was there was a settlement that could have happened, and my father talked to the insurance company. He's like, we're thinking about settling, but the attorney who was in the passenger seat on their side was really rude to our insurance company, and it became personal for them. Like he was apparently just like obstinate and difficult to talk to through the whole process, and they didn't want to settle at all. And my father was like, I don't know, this thing's not going well. Like, your attorney that you brought here seems like some sort of rookie. Like, we might just take the settlement. It might be a better deal. And they said, look, we're going to go on with this thing. Nothing will happen to you. We won't raise your rates. If we're ordered to pay, USAA will pay it. Like, you are now insulated. You've won personally, but we want to go to court and see if we can get this guy to lose. And they failed, but that's how it went down. Anyway, on my record was a court order to pay for this guy's car. And, I think USAA did, immediately. So I wasn't negligent in fulfilling all of my duties or anything. But because there was a court order to pay for something, I had a ding on my credit report for 7 years. And that to me was just
insult to injury.
It just really sucked. I felt like, let's say this small claims court thing happens, right? That I talked about last week, and somehow I end up having to pay for so it was $2,800 of wood. I put a down payment of $1,400, and she never delivered it. Right? Let's say hypothetically they're like, well, wait a minute, you have to pay for the other $1,400 now. If it goes down like that, anytime someone orders you to pay money in court, that's a negative on your credit report. even though in my head it's like, no, I paid it immediately. It wasn't a late payment or anything. I never felt obligated to pay it before.
Could the judge somehow at the end be like, we could just set aside this ruling, and are you sure you don't want to settle, Mr. Gamertag? Could he pull one of those, be like, because it's not going to go well for you if you don't. And you could just be like, yeah, let me just, are we all good here? Yeah, good. Just kind of slowly back out of the courtroom.
Yeah, that's not far from what happened with the last time when, people know these stories, but with the house that was $6,000, I withheld it from the general contractor because he owed it to someone else. They put a lien against my house. And then they were about to say, all right, you have to take this $6,000 and pay the sub. And I'm like, why is this? This hurts my credit record. This isn't fair. And they're like, well, why don't you guys work this all out, out of court, make a settlement, and then there'll be no court. So my credit report wasn't ever hit. But that's almost exactly what happened. But yeah. Anyway, Taylor asked what kind of things hurt your credit report. Not paying late, court ordering you to pay somebody. Those things are all dings. I guess the